first, I'd like to ask you two questions. First, would you feel safe knowing that clones are walking among you, or that you know you had a clone?
I would feel safe in both of those instances.
What would be your first reaction to those instances?
Well, I recognize that clones are an exact genetic copy of someone else. But just because two people have the same exact DNA doesn't mean that they have the same attitudes, feelings, values, and beliefs. So because of what's inside of a person means so much, and because there's no evidence that cloning really has any impact on people's personalities, and you have to look at environmental factors such as the way that someone's raised, I am no more or no less concerned about someone being a clone than I am about them coming about the old-fashioned way.
Would you change your mind if your best friend was a clone and you found out that he was a clone? Would your attitude change toward him, or would it still be the same?
I doubt that my attitude would change very much. I try very hard to judge people based on their behavior and how they treat those around them and how they interact with the world around them. And unless I were to see some sort of evidence that by virtue of the fact that someone is a clone, it's going to make the way that they behave around other people and act around other people and in society differently, it really wouldn't concern me one way or the other.
Okay, next question. Do you like the idea or dislike the idea of cloning, and reproductive or therapeutic?
You know, that's a really good question, and since being before your committee and hearing the questions that you're raising and the answers that you're getting, it's occurring to me that cloning can be used for different purposes. At first glance, it seems to me that as long as we were to follow our scientific moral imperative to only do good for the world and not evils. So, for instance, if someone were to say use cloning to create a less diverse, more uniform population, I can see where that could be a problem, especially when you consider that our country and our society's greatest strength is our diversity. Then I would be opposed to any effort. I would be opposed to any efforts to see cloning used in that way. However, for couples who want to have children who aren't able to, for scientific research that is going to make children healthier, for scientific research that is going to help us understand the impact that genetics plays on how our bodies age and grow older, then I'm all in favor of cloning.
Do you think there are any risks involving cloning or genetic engineering?
Oh, sure there are. I'll go back to what I said about a lack of biodiversity in the human population. And you see that in pets. If you look at certain breeds of dogs that are bred for certain characteristics, with those positive characteristics also come negative traits. For instance, Labrador retrievers have lots of hip dysplasia. Pugs have lots of respiratory problems, and it's just a part of the breed. If we were to advance human cloning to the level of looking for whatever those desired physical traits are, then my concern would be very much like in the genetic manipulation of pets, that we would be creating some pretty nasty, unwanted health effects for human beings as well.
That will be all. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any further questions?
Yes?
If you had a chance to be cloned, would you choose it?
Me personally, probably not. For different personal reasons. I have no desire to have a small version of me running around. You know, I have a child. I might have more children one day, and you know, they're just fine without all of the science getting involved.
Any further questions?
I do. Do you feel as if cloning brings in like a mass race, what do you think will happen in society?
When we think of master race, that's a pretty loaded kind of statement. It evokes images of what the Nazis were going for prior to World War II, and I think we all saw the disastrous effects of that. So it is my I find it difficult to believe that anyone who were to come before this committee and suggest that we create one kind of human that is better than other kinds of humans I find it difficult to believe that anyone who would promote such an idea would be taken seriously. However, let's imagine for a minute that they were. I think that the results of that are disastrous. I mean, even in smaller communities across America, where you have smaller populations of people, even in those communities, where everyone on the surface might look the same, racially speaking, there's still a great amount of diversity that allows for us to continue to have healthy babies.
Any other questions?
I have one. If you couldn't have children, but would you want to choose reproductive cloning, or would you go for adoption?
I would consider, in that instance, I would consider cloning as an option. Obviously, that's a decision that I wouldn't make alone. I would have to take the rest of my family's feelings and beliefs about cloning into account, but I would not rule cloning out just because it's cloning.
Any further questions? Okay, I would like the donor to come to the stand and share his service.
Thank you, committee.